Hee. Thanks for the meal. It was delicious today as well.
Emma said with a big grin. I always wanted to see Emma smile, so I served her pasta. My restaurant operates in 2 shifts, lunch and dinner. The dinner shift starts at 5 in the evening. For a while now, Emma has been the first customer during the dinner shift. Though I call her a customer, I never took any money from her. At first,
You're too kind. If you don't set boundaries, it might not be in her best interest.
I'd always get scolded by my staff for this. Told me her smile is payment enough. I'd say with a chuckle every time. About a month ago, I noticed a little girl spying on the restaurant from behind a nearby lamppost. Despite it being the middle of winter, she was wearing only a light cardigan and looked freezing. It didn't seem like she had any parents nearby. Hey there, sweetie. What's going on? Concerned, I approached her, but as I did, she scurried away. The next day and the day after that, she was standing in the same spot. Anything you want to eat? I slowly approached the girl, being careful not to startle her, and gently asked her. But every time after that, she'd run away from me. On the 4th day since I first noticed her, I intentionally went outside 30 minutes before opening and waited for her to show up at her usual spot. Sure enough, 15 minutes before opening for the afternoon shift, she appeared and stood in her usual place. Do you want something to eat? I called out to her from behind, being very careful not to surprise her. She probably hadn't expected me to come from behind. Her face was frozen with shock. I knelt down in front of her, making sure our eyes were at the same level, and then asked, "What's your name, sweetie?"
Emma.
She replied with a slightly scared expression. Emma, huh? How old are you?
5.
So, you're in kindergarten then. Are you hungry? When I asked her, Emma nodded slightly and whispered,
Yeah.
Well, come on in. Let's get you something to eat. As I said this, Emma froze.
I don't have any money.
She murmured in a tiny voice. It's okay. The shop opens at 5, and it's still 10 minutes before then. So you don't need to pay, I quickly reassured her.
Really?
Emma's face lit up as if she'd discovered something wonderful. Taking her hand, I led her into the shop. The other staff members were surprised to see this unexpected young guest. What would you like? When I asked, perhaps relieved that it was on the house, she cheerfully responded,
Pasta.
Good choice. I couldn't help but tell Emma. The reason I said that was because pasta is the signature dish of our restaurant. Emma watched with glee as I prepared her pasta. Here you go. As I set the pasta on the table, Emma broke into a wide smile.
Thank you.
Emma must have been very hungry as she began eating with full concentration. Watching her, I couldn't help but feel a warmth in my eyes. 2 years ago, I lived with my wife and daughter. We lived in an apartment close to the shop, so my daughter would often visit the restaurant before opening hours. Pasta was her favorite. Emma seems to be around the same age as she was, I thought to myself as I watched Emma eating her pasta with relish. However, something about Emma's appearance concerned me. Not only was she dressed lightly, but her clothes also weren't in the best condition. They seemed washed but quite worn out. Emma, do you love your mom and dad? When I asked, she took a moment and then replied,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask more, but it felt wrong to pry further, even if she was just a child. Emma always finished her pasta. Even though I'd serve a little less, considering she's a child, her appetite was astonishing. While I felt glad to see her eat well, I also constantly felt uneasy, wondering if she was getting proper meals at home. Excuse the interruption. As the evening wore on, and with hardly any customers left, I was contemplating closing up shop when an unwelcome guest made their presence felt. I tried to ignore him at first. Turned out he was one of those land sharks. Word was that there's a plan to erect a big apartment complex right where my little joint stands. These guys have been trying to shove an eviction notice down my throat for months now.
You're a tough nut to crack, huh? We ain't offering a bad deal here for this small place.
That shark's pitch was always the same. This place is all I've got. I ain't planning on going anywhere. I'd always shoot back with the same retort. Normally, after a little back and forth, they'd leave with some snarky comment, but not today.
Look, even we got our limits. Might want to think about it while things are still calm. Got it? This is our final warning. You understand?
With that, they walked out. No matter the threats, I had my reasons for holding my ground. This place is filled with memories of my wife and daughter, who tragically passed away in an accident 2 years ago. I'd quit my office job to start this restaurant just before we got hitched.
You don't have to choose the hard path.
Most everyone around me said I should reconsider. But my wife, one of the very few who stood by me, said,
I want to chase our dreams with you.
I worked from dawn to dusk every single day. 2 years after getting married, our daughter was born. About 6 months post-delivery, my wife returned to work at the restaurant. No matter how much I told her not to push herself,
I'm fine. I'm fine.
was her go-to response. The sheer joy of being surrounded by my beloved wife and daughter while working was incomparable.
I'll just run out and pick up some supplies, okay?
Leaving those words behind, my wife headed out, our daughter snugly strapped to her back. A few hours later, the restaurant phone rang.
This is the police. Your wife was in an accident and has just been taken to the hospital.
As I picked up the call, I heard the formal words of the officer. My mind was in chaos. Handing the reins of the restaurant to a regular customer who happened to be there, I hurried to the hospital they directed me to. Upon my arrival and after mentioning my name, the nurse's face turned grim. I wasn't led to a patient room but to the morgue instead. There, under a white sheet, lay my wife and daughter. No matter how much I called out, neither of them woke up. I cried. I cried so much, I wondered where all these tears were coming from. They seemed never-ending. The day after the funeral, the staff and regulars told me,
You should take some more time off.
but to me, the restaurant was the place where I felt closest to my wife and daughter. I believed that by continuing to run the shop, my wife and daughter would find peace. That's part of why I felt that way. I didn't put up their portraits in the restaurant because I didn't want them to become mere memories. The day after the land shark came, little Emma, as usual, walked into the restaurant. Beside her was a woman.
Master, let me introduce you. This is my mom.
Emma said with a wide smile.
I'm so sorry for not introducing myself earlier. Emma always talks about how kind you've been to her.
Emma's mom said, repeatedly bowing her head. You're having pasta, right? I asked. I heard a simultaneous
Yes.
from Emma and
No.
from her mom.
Emma, I said we wouldn't have pasta today, remember?
Emma's mom admonished her with a stern look. It's okay. Emma's a valued customer here, I said, trying to lighten the mood. Emma's mom looked a bit saddened.
We don't have enough money on us. I don't want it to seem like we're dining and dashing.
Emma's mom said, looking genuinely embarrassed.
Don't you know, Mom, before the restaurant opens, you don't need money.
Emma piped up. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Emma's mom's face turned beach red. Please, have something to eat, I urged.
See, Mom, let's eat.
Emma said, firmly seating her mother in a chair.
Well, if you insist. But in exchange, just one drink.
Emma's mom told me. Here you go. Enjoy your meal, I said as I served them. Emma was the first to take a bite of the pasta. While she was eating, her mom began sharing her story with me. Emma's dad passed away a year ago, and now her mom was raising her all by herself. She worked a part-time job, but the income was minimal. They only bought clothes from flea markets, and she felt guilty that she couldn't provide proper meals for Emma. It turned out she had married against her parents' wishes, leading to a strained relationship with them. You must have been through a lot. It was then that I said this when suddenly the door burst open, and those infamous land sharks came in, several of them.
Today's the final notice day. Let us do a little cleaning here.
As they said this, the land sharks began causing a ruckus. Emma burst into tears upon seeing the sudden commotion. Emma's mom held her tight, not moving an inch from the spot.
Well, we've had our fun.
After wreaking havoc, the land sharks left, saying so. The diner was such a mess. It was clear that reopening anytime soon would be out of the question. I'm so sorry for exposing you to such a fright. I apologized to Emma and her mom. Emma clung to her mother's arms, trembling.
Why would this happen?
While saying this, Emma's mom showed a surprising amount of determination. I explained to her about the condo construction plans in the area, the harassment from the land sharks wanting me to leave, and how I didn't want to leave a place filled with memories of my wife and daughter. Listening to all this, Emma's mom said,
I understand.
From that day, those land sharks never showed up at my diner again. The land sharks were investigated by the police for their illegal property grabbing activities, leading to several arrests. As a result, it seems they were disbanded. The condo construction plans were also canceled. I heard about this from the neighborhood association president. Now, I can continue running my restaurant. I felt truly relieved. But why did the police suddenly take action? It was a mystery to me. The neighborhood association president also said he didn't know. A few days later, for the first time since the land sharks caused chaos at my diner, Emma and her mom visited. I'm glad to see you both. I was worried you might never come back after the scary incident, I said, to which Emma's mom responded with something unexpected.
I'm glad your diner could stay open.
I was puzzled. Only a select few, including members of the neighborhood association, should know that my diner was saved. I couldn't imagine how an ordinary person like Emma's mom could have that information.
The bad men made you really angry, so they got punished?
Said Emma. I couldn't help but look at Emma's mom. According to Emma's mom, Emma's grandfather is a high-ranking officer in the county police.
I was there, so I had them charge him with assault. Perhaps you should consider pressing charges for property damage to the restaurant as well,
she said with a mischievous grin. She continued,
thank you for giving me the courage to meet with my parents.
As she enjoyed her usual pasta, Emma's mom explained. It seemed she had an arranged fiancé chosen by her father. However, she was in love with someone else. Soon, she found out she was pregnant with Emma. She pleaded with her father multiple times, wanting to marry the man she loved, but her father wouldn't approve of the union.
Leave this house immediately and never show your face to me again.
He had told her. Emma's mom left home, and 8 months later, Emma was born. The three of them led a modest but happy life. However, their happiness was short-lived. They discovered that Emma's dad had cancer. Due to his young age, the disease progressed rapidly, and within less than a year of his diagnosis, Emma's dad passed away. Being disowned, Emma's mom was hesitant to turn to her family for support. But after the incident at my diner, it seemed she considered consulting her father.
I can't stand by and let someone bully my favorite diner's master.
That's what Emma said, and it gave her mom the courage to approach her father. Emma's mom recounted, laughing.
Thanks for the delicious meal today, master,
said a vibrant Emma as they left. A few months have passed since then, and Emma has started visiting the diner almost every day, of course, accompanied by her mom. However, nowadays, Emma's mom can often be found on the other side of the counter. I asked her for help a while back, and she's been assisting in running the diner. I have a feeling a new chapter is beginning for the three of us.